Hi, welcome to our channel. Today we're going to look at another mystery case.
In the late 1960s, as the world was captivated by the counterculture movement and the promise of change, the streets of Northern California became the hunting ground for one of the most elusive and terrifying serial killers in American history. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer, a shadowy figure whose identity remains unknown to this day, despite the best efforts of law enforcement and amateur sleuths alike. The Zodiac's reign of terror began on December 20, 1968, with the murders of Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. The high school sweethearts were parked on a secluded lover's lane in Benicia, California, when they were ambushed. Faraday was shot in the head, execution style, while Jensen attempted to flee but was shot 5 times in the back. The brutality of the crime shocked the quiet community, but it was only the beginning. On July 4, 1969, the Zodiac struck again. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were parked in a similar lover's lane spot in Vallejo when a car pulled up beside them. The driver exited, approached the couple, and opened fire. Ferrin was killed instantly, but Mageau survived despite being shot multiple times. His account of the attack provided crucial details about the killer: a stocky white male in his late 20s to early 30s, with short, light brown curly hair and wearing heavy-rimmed glasses. Just days later, letters arrived at the offices of the Vallejo Times-Herald, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Examiner. Each letter began with the chilling phrase, "This is the Zodiac speaking." The letters contained cryptic ciphers and taunting remarks directed at the police, along with details about the murders that had not been made public. The Zodiac demanded that the ciphers be printed on the front page of each newspaper, or he would go on a killing spree. The newspapers complied, and thus began a macabre correspondence that would continue for years. Let's go through the horrifying letters sent by the Zodiac Killer to various publications and press. Letter to the Vallejo Times-Herald, postmarked July 31, 1969. The writer claimed responsibility for the 2 shootings and provided details about the victims, the weapons, the number of shots fired, and the brand of ammunition. Letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, postmarked July 31, 1969. One of 3 virtually identical letters, accompanied by 1/3 of a cipher. The writer demanded publication of the letters and ciphers by Friday, August 1. Letter to the San Francisco Examiner, postmarked July 31, 1969. The writer threatened to kill again if newspapers did not publish the cipher, which included the words, "I like killing people because it's so much fun." 3-page letter received by the Examiner on August 4, 1969. Sent in response to police asking for information to prove the writer actually committed the murders. This was the first use of the name, the Zodiac. Message written on the passenger door of victim Bryan Hartnell's Volkswagen Carmen Ghia, which included the dates of the 2 shootings. Sherwood Merrill, the California Department of Justice documents examiner, concluded that the door message was written by the author of the Zodiac letters. Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked October 13, 1969. The writer mocked police for failing to catch him and threatened to shoot children on a school bus. The envelope contained a piece of the blood-stained shirt belonging to victim Paul Stine. Envelope to the Chronicle, postmarked November 8, 1969, containing another piece of the cab driver's shirt, a humorous greeting card, and another cipher consisting of 340 symbols. The writer added, "De Julie Aug Sept Oct 7, a possible reference to more unidentified victims. 7-page letter to the Chronicle, postmarked November 9, 1969. The longest message from Zodiac claimed that police stopped him near a crime scene but let him go. Zodiac also included a bomb recipe and a diagram of the explosive. Letter addressed to famous attorney Melvin Belli, postmarked December 20, 1969. The writer feared he would kill again and asked Belli to intercede. The letter ended, "Please help me, I cannot remain in control for much longer." Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked April 20, 1970. Included a 13-symbol cipher and a diagram of a bomb designed to kill children on a school bus. The Zodiac denied responsibility for a recent police station bombing that killed an officer. Greeting card to the Chronicle, postmarked April 28, 1970. Inside the card, the Zodiac demanded publication of his bomb threats and insisted that the people of the San Francisco Bay Area wear Zodiac buttons, featuring his chosen symbol, the crossed circle. Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked June 26, 1970, containing a map of the San Francisco Bay Area with a crossed circle on the peak of Mat Diablo and a code to locate the Zodiac's bomb. The writer claimed he killed again. Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked July 24, 1970. The Zodiac complained that people weren't wearing his crossed circle Zodiac buttons, and he claimed that he was responsible for the failed abduction of pregnant mother Kathleen Johns on March 22, 1970. 5-page Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked July 26, 1970. The Zodiac described torturing his victims and quoted from the Gilbert and Sullivan musical The Mikado. The letter also explained that the Mat Diablo code concerned geometric angles known as radians. Suspected Zodiac postcard postmarked October 5, 1970, with a message constructed with text clipped from other sources. The words, "The pace isn't any slower. In fact, it's just one big," were clipped from the comic strip Smidgens. Halloween card sent to Chronicle reporter Paul Avery, postmarked October 27, 1970. The writer misspelled Avery's name as Averly, and the number 14 was interpreted as a possible reference to an unidentified 14th victim. Letter addressed to the Los Angeles Times, postmarked March 13, 1971. In it, Zodiac suggested he was responsible for the unsolved murder of Sherry Jo Bates near Riverside City College on October 30, 1966. Postcard to Chronicle reporter Paul Avery, postmarked March 22, 1971. The writer once again misspelled Avery's name as Averly. The phrase, "sought victim 12", was interpreted as a reference to the Donna Lass disappearance in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked January 29, 1974. The writer alluded to a possible suicide in another quote from the Gilbert and Sullivan musical, The Mikado. The notation Me 37 SFPD 0 was interpreted as a box score, indicating 37 victims. Postcard to the Chronicle, postmarked February 14, 1974. The writer referred to the SLA, or Symbionese Liberation Army, a group of militant urban guerrillas responsible for the abduction of newspaper heiress Patty Hearst. This message was signed, "A Friend." Card to the Chronicle, postmarked May 8, 1974. This message from a citizen complained about the glorification of violence in newspaper ads for the movie The Badlands, about the killing spree by Richard Starkweather and his 14-year-old girlfriend. Letter to the Chronicle, postmarked July 8, 1974. The writer complained that Chronicle columnist Count Marco Spinelli suffered from a serious psychological disorder and should be sent back in the hellhole. This letter was signed The Red Phantom. The ciphers were complex and seemingly impenetrable, but on August 8, 1969, a high school teacher named Donald Harden and his wife Betty cracked the first one. The message read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all." The lack of clues to the Zodiac's identity was frustrating, but it did nothing to dampen the public's morbid fascination with the case. On September 27, 1969, the Zodiac's violence escalated. Bryan Hartnell and Cecelia Shepard were picnicking at Lake Benicia when a man wearing an executioner-style hood and a chest emblazoned with the Zodiac symbol approached them. He tied them up and brutally stabbed them both, leaving them for dead. Shepard succumbed to her injuries, but Hartnell survived and provided a detailed description of the attacker. This was the first time the Zodiac had deviated from his usual method of shooting his victims, indicating a chilling versatility in his methods. 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, cab driver Paul Stine was shot and killed in San Francisco's upscale Presidio Heights neighborhood. This time, the Zodiac sent a piece of Stine's bloody shirt along with another taunting letter to the San Francisco Chronicle. The murder of Stine marked a significant shift as it occurred in an urban setting, and it was the last confirmed killing by the Zodiac. Despite the proximity to witnesses and a sketch provided by observant teenagers, the Zodiac vanished into the night. The Zodiac continued to communicate with the press and the police, sending letters boasting of his exploits and mocking the efforts to capture him. He claimed to have killed 37 people, though only 5 murders and 2 attempted murders have been conclusively linked to him. His letters contained more ciphers, only some of which have been solved, and cryptic clues about his identity. One of the most infamous was the 340-character cipher, which remained unbroken for over 50 years until a team of amateur codebreakers deciphered it in 2020. The decoded message, while disturbing, provided no new clues about the Zodiac's identity. As the years passed, numerous suspects were proposed, but none were definitively linked to the crimes. The most prominent suspect was Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester who was first identified by police in 1971. Allen matched the Zodiac's physical description and had circumstantial connections to the case, including owning a watch with the Zodiac symbol and having been in the vicinity of the murders. However, DNA testing in 2002 on a stamp from one of the Zodiac's letters did not match Allen's DNA, and he was never charged. Despite the advancements in forensic science and persistent efforts by investigators, the Zodiac case remains one of the most baffling and frustrating in criminal history. The killer's taunting letters, filled with cryptic puzzles and ominous threats, captivated and terrified the public. His ability to evade capture, despite numerous close calls, has turned the Zodiac into a figure of dark legend. In addition to Arthur Lee Allen, other suspects have included known criminals, mentally ill individuals, and even family members of law enforcement officials. Each new theory and piece of evidence spurs fresh hope that the Zodiac's identity will finally be revealed, yet the case remains cold. Amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike continue to pore over the Zodiac's letters and the few pieces of physical evidence available, hoping for a breakthrough. One of the enduring mysteries of the Zodiac case is his apparent ability to stop killing and fade into obscurity. Serial killers typically escalate their activities over time, but the Zodiac's confirmed activities ceased abruptly. Some theorists suggest he may have been incarcerated for another crime, moved to a different area, or died. Others believe he may have continued to kill, but altered his methods to avoid detection. The Zodiac's impact on popular culture has been profound. He has inspired numerous books, movies, and TV shows, each adding to the mythology surrounding the case. The Zodiac's symbol and cryptic messages have become iconic in the annals of true crime, representing the ultimate challenge for law enforcement and armchair detectives alike. His case is a chilling reminder of the human capacity for evil and the limits of our ability to understand and control it. In the end, the story of the Zodiac Killer is one of fear, frustration, and fascination. The mystery of his identity endures, a puzzle wrapped in an enigma, waiting to be solved. As long as the case remains open, the Zodiac will continue to haunt the collective imagination, a dark figure lurking in the shadows of one of America's most vibrant and iconic cities. The question of who he was and why he did what he did remains unanswered, ensuring that the Zodiac Killer will forever be a ghostly presence in the world of unsolved mysteries.
Thanks for watching. Write your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to our channel not to miss the next mystery story from real life.